All right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for joining in. I'm extremely pleased to welcome you all to the second edition of Mental Health Awareness Forum. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Madhu Hisaria. I'm a psychotherapist and relationship counselor. I have my consulting practice at Pali Hill, Mumbai, Bandra. I am also on the panel of a couple of psychiatric clinics and online health platforms. In fact, most of the counseling these days, 90-95% is online now. Clients from everywhere can join in, and they do join in. So when it comes to mental health and the way we as a society view it, I'm reminded of two things. One is a saying and the other is a metaphor. The saying I'm referring to is, ignorance is bliss. This is the best statement describing the state of denial we as a society are in. So as far as mental health issues are concerned, no, ignorance is not bliss when it comes to mental health. There is so much ignorance about the symptoms which indicate mental health issues that we often ignore or misread these initial symptoms, leading to aggravating the situation with sad consequences, sometimes not only for the person himself or herself, but also for his or her dear ones. So the first thing that I would like to emphasize is that it is important to know what course to follow in case of mental health issues. We all know if one has let's say, a bad fall and hurt one's foot, we go to an orthopedic, not to a urologist or a gynecologist. So the first step is to recognize and acknowledge the issue and look for solution at the correct place. And the metaphor I was referring to in the beginning was that of an ostrich. It is proverbially believed that whenever an ostrich sees a danger or predator, it buries its head in sand with the belief that since he is no longer seeing the danger has disappeared. Sadly, this really doesn't help. Again, mostly when we are confronted in mental health issues, we act like an ostrich, isn't it? We believe if we ignore it, it will somehow go away. Nothing could be farther from truth than this ostrich-like behavior. We need to accept the issues, acknowledge them, and look for scientifically proven treatment and therapies to resolve them. I hold these awareness sessions just to help people understand that ignorance is not bliss. In case you are faced with mental health challenges, and behaving like an ostrich would not resolve your issues, the way it never drove away predators from hunting an ostrich. So there are broadly two issues that we are trying to address here as far as mental health is concerned. One, the lack of awareness around it, which leads to people recognizing the symptoms very late. Two, the stigma attached to talking around mental health issues in our society. Hence, normalizing conversations around mental health is crucial. This forum is one such humble attempt in this direction. As Lao Tzu, an ancient Chinese philosopher, rightly says, if you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall into place. I'll repeat that. If you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall into place. And I believe my panelists would more than agree with this, isn't it? Because it affects every area of their life. Today's panelists are my clients who have struggled themselves with mental health issues and come out as winners. And they have graciously, very graciously agreed to share their journey with you all, with the only pure intent that it would possibly help someone. As one of the panelists shared in the last forum, which held in June, that she became aware that what she was going through was mental health issue when Deepika Padukone opened up about herself. I feel honored to present them to you. Let me start with Shubhi Sharma. She is a PR professional. Shubhi, you can just kind of say hi. so that everybody can recognize you, Shubhi.
Hi everybody. I'm Shubhi, and I have been speaking to Madhu for past couple of years now. I've been under therapy.
Thank you so much for joining in and being a panelist. Shubhi is a PR professional. A few years back, she was facing severe anxiety issues impacting many areas of her life. Today, she is happily married. She strongly believes in spreading awareness around mental health issues. So this was the time when she started speaking to me. She was very vocal about, wanting to create awareness around this. So she joins us for the second time. So she was also there in the first forum. Next on my list is Pallavi Iyer. Pallavi has worked as an HR systems specialist earlier, and today she is working towards building a career in counseling itself. And how beautiful is that? She was in therapy with me last year, and she was suffering from clinical depression since past few years. She was doing much better, and of course the journey continues. Suranjana Gupta.
Hello everyone, very good evening.
Suranjana Gupta is 38-year-old working as a data scientist. Suranjana and her husband came to me for relationship counseling. In her own words, in Suranjana's words, their marriage was taking last few breaths when they came in for help. But today their lives are changed 180 degrees. She will share rest of this journey with you all in due course of this session. Thank you so much, Suranjana, for joining in. Next, I would like to introduce Nilima Yadav.
Hello, everyone.
Nilima is working as a subdivisional magistrate, SDM, and she's posted in Kanpur, Dehat district of Uttar Pradesh. She came up to me with issues like constant fear of judgment, which was leading to inability to take any action, feeling overwhelmed, loss of confidence, and which resulted into she binge watching, oversleeping, etc., etc. She has been able to work on quite a few of her issues, and the journey continues. Last but not the least, Sanaya Thamodiwala. Sanaya, can you just say hi to everyone?
Hello.
Okay, Sanaya Thamodiwala works as a freelancing virtual assistant, and she has expertise in social media management, graphic design, and content writing. So I would like to mention that when I conducted the first forum in June, she had just attended the first therapy session, and then she attended the forum. And, she suffered from clinical depression, and she had extremely suicidal thoughts. And she has so brilliantly worked on herself in just a short span of time. So, she has so brilliantly worked on herself, and I'm so very proud of her. And I'm supported by my very able friend, Anupama Kotyankar.
Hello.
She is a psychologist and counselor, and who runs her private practice at Kandivali. She is also a volunteer at Samaritans Mumbai, which is a suicide helpline. And I would request her to take forward the session from here.
Hello, everyone. A very good evening to you all. So we'll start with, discussion with the panelists, where we'll ask some questions about the journey that, our panelists have gone through, and, it would, and then we'll open the room for discussions or queries which others have. In the meantime, you can post your questions on the chat box. I see that we have already started receiving questions, but we'll answer them after we finish our discussion with the panelists. So, you can make a note of your questions and keep posting it on the chat. We'll try to answer all of them. We'll also share our email addresses on the chat box in case anybody has a follow-up question, or in case some questions come up later, you can email it to us with the subject as mental health forum. Some ground rules. Let's all respect the speaker. Whoever is speaking, we try not to interrupt when somebody is speaking. We try to keep ourselves on mute so that we don't disturb the decorum. Yeah, that's it, I think. And I think we are ready to start. Have I missed something, Madhu? You
No,
can
I
add on.
think
Yeah.
we are just,
All right.
you're good.
Okay, Madhu, let's
Okay, so yep, here we go. Let me start with my first question by asking, how did you realize, and any one of us can start, how did you realize that you're facing some mental health issue? Was it easy for you to recognize that it was a mental health issue that I am facing, or it took you all some time to recognize that it was something related to the mental health issue? Anyone could start.
I'll take the question, Madhu.
Yes, Shubhi.
So I think the time that I realized that I have mental health issue, at that moment I was very grateful because of this kind of system that existed around me for me to realize कि ऐसा भी कुछ होता है. But when I started working on it, I realized that these problems just did not, did not just happen in 6 months or a year. I had been going through this, from far longer than I identified. I was going through this since I was a child, and certain things which we had just in the family very casually named that okay, isko aisa hota hai when something happens, or exams se pehle aisa hota hai, ya travel se pehle hota hai. So that was all anxiety, and but yeah, once I realized, identifying them and working on them became a lot more easier. But I think uh, yeah, this, I won't call it very easy, the journey, but again, it's very, very, very fruitful because the kind of changes that started happening in me, and I started disconnecting with myself, that I used to realize that this is not me. मैं हंसती नहीं हूँ. In fact, I used to always be cracking joke. I was the funny piece of my family, but I saw a lot of behavioral changes, and that impacted my relationship with my family, my friends, my work, everything. So yeah, that's how I realized that this is something's happening with me.
Yeah. I think Shubhi made a pertinent point here that though we may realize it now, but it goes back a long time to show. Usually, we human beings are very resilient people. So it takes a lot of time for us to kind of really experience it in the form of mental health issues, Yeah. Anybody would like to take up this question? How about you, Pallavi? Would you like to talk about some specific, let's say, symptoms, if you can call it that, you were experiencing, so that the audience knows that, okay, they can look for these kind of things?
So first off, disclaimer, I think the experience of depression or any mental health is unique to a person. But yes, there were certain things that I think are indicators of mental health issues. So in my case, personal case was, first of all, I was shocked because I was used to pride myself in the art of blocking things, like hatao side, and that stopped. And also I had quit my job at a couple of years back. I was pretty happy and I am interested in a lot of things, and I lost interest in everything. So even if I tried to motivate myself to, let's say, paint or draw, whatever, I just could not. And that led to me beating myself up so much about it, like you are lazy and you are incompetent, etc. And then it became worse because then I started feeling hopeless. So I used to get up in the morning and then think, why am I waking up? There's nothing to look forward to, there's nothing to do. Till then also I was in avoidant mode. I was like, okay, it's a phase or whatever, and it'll go away on its own. But one day I woke up and I was like, there's no point living. That was the first thought that I had. And at that moment, I thought maybe I should consult somebody, because it's such a, in my head, it was like depression will not happen to all these, socialites, celebrities, not to normal people like me. There's nothing to be sad about. And generally, people associate depression with situations, something has
Right.
happened because of that is happening. And nothing bad had happened to me. My life was fine. So I was like, it was a blame game inside myself also. And there's no reason for you to be so sad or so discontented. But thankfully, I went to a psychiatrist and got diagnosed and all that. Even then, it took me a while because I always questioned the psychiatrist. Blood test to hai nahi. How do you know? How do you know I'm not fooling you? Just to get a medication. So it takes a while to, because if there's no proof anywhere, right? When you have mental health, you
Yes.
don't have a blood test, you don't have a scan. So it takes a while to accept that okay, your brain is also something that can get affected and can get unhealthy, and just like any other body part. So that's what mine was. I started with medication and then I came to you for therapy. And then I realized that, it doesn't have to be a specific situation for your mental health to get affected. It's a long, like Shubhi said, it had
Yes.
has been going on for very long, and somehow after a
Yes.
while your body or mind cannot cope up, and then you have to take charge. So that's what happened with me. So therapy helped me to actually realize, okay, this is what I'm holding on to. I have inner child
Hmm.
issues and this issue and that issue. So it is a
Hmm.
journey, like you said. So I think
Yes.
I've said enough. So
Yeah.
basically,
Sure.
disinterest,
Thank you.
and
Hmm.
I would also like to say there are certain like psychiatrists have some 4 or 5. Somebody asked this question, that's why I'm answering it. There are 4 or 5 things that psychiatrists look at to determine if it's clinical depression. So one of these is your sleeplessness or sleeping too much, appetite
Yes.
changes, and all that. So those were things that were physically happening with me also. So
Hmm.
combination
Hmm.
of physiological and mental issues.
Yes. 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 So actually, mind and body are related.
Yeah,
If something we are experiencing in our mind, our body will start showing, and
right.
something, you'll see that okay, even if you are not able to sleep well for even one single night, the
Hmm.
next day, either our gut system kind of starts showing something. We don't
Right,
generally, it shows in the form of some physical discomfort, and
right.
vice versa is also true. Um, right. Yeah. Sanaya, would you also like to take up that question? And, would you like to talk specifically about, the signs when you realize that I'm not able to deal with things and I need to, or was it, that you confused it with that, okay, is it something physical, or, is it something that is really going on with me, or this is something just I'm making up in my mind kind of a thing? So how was it for you?
Yeah. So I had been going, or rather, I had seen my first therapist when I was in my eighth grade, when I was having, issues with my mother, and she had taken me to a different city, etc. But cut to the time when I was actually clinically diagnosed with depression was in 2019, and just like Madhu said, I did not know whether it was a physical thing or a mental related issue. So my first sign, let's say, is it starts from your gut. Your gut will
Hmm.
start acting up. Now, in some people's cases, it is that they will start eating more food, or they will start eating less. Some people will start have acidity. Some people will have, regurgitation and things like that. For me, it was acidity. So I used to keep going to the gastroenterologist, and he would prescribe medicines. I would go back. It would still continue. There was a point, and at that time I'd already seen my psychiatrist, so he thought it was anxiety, but he also said that no, it must be acidity. My gastro is saying it's anxiety, and I was completely in no way. I was like, both of them are quacks, they don't know anything. Ultimately, it led to a point, like Pallavi said, where I was so confused and so unhappy with myself. I didn't feel like getting out of bed. I would be doing things which would not make me happy. And the worst part was, it affected everybody around me, which made it even worse, because it is one thing to be upset with yourself, it is another when you are upset because other people are upset, to the extent that I realized that I didn't want to be a part of this world. I didn't want to be a part of somebody else's unhappiness. So I tried to commit suicide twice. I first went for the knife, which pretty much everybody knows is like, it will only cause more and more pain and a lot of blood, and it really doesn't do much. It causes a scar which you are not very happy with. Then I used to live on the 11th floor, and I was in my bedroom, and I was at the windowsill, and I was just sitting with my legs down outside and waiting for somebody to come and help me. And like Madhu really said, was it a cry out for pain? Was it a cry out for help? Or did I really want to commit suicide? And that's when I went to the hospital. I was there for 15 days, and it was it was a very mind opening session for me, because although I was in the hospital more for my own protection, there was nothing really that the medicine did differently. Yes, I did have medication and all of that, but I think the most help that I got was from therapy, because the first time, so this happened twice to me, and the most recent was, as Madhu said, round about June, when the first forum was held out here. And when Madhu and I met for the first time, I realized that what I had been doing in therapy was only listening and taking in the information, but not acting on it. And that is when the realization, the aha moment happened. And I promise, Madhu, I will say this here, that the first forum was when I decided that I have to reach that forum and be a speaker. Like, the next time she has this, I just have to be a speaker. And I think that was one of my biggest motivations to work towards this.
How beautiful. And thank you so much, Sanaya, for sharing. It's really very personal that you all are sharing. I really deeply acknowledge, deeply appreciate my panelists coming out on video and sharing,
And then
what they have
I
gone
want to
through.
tell this to Sanaya, that Sanaya, I really can feel this. And, this is the real victory, that you can finally come out of it, and you're looking at from at a distance, and today you can talk about it. And I know what an amazing feeling this would have been.
Yeah, it is.
Congratulations to you. I mean,
And the
really
thing
well
is
done.
that one thing that I realized, because I went through two bouts of it, is that every time it will be different. The way Pallavi said that for every one it is different. Even for every single time you have it, it will be a different, feeling. Every time you will have different symptoms, and different things will work for you.
Yeah.
But just don't let go of it. Like, just keep going, and you'll get there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanaya and others, for sharing. So just summarizing what we have heard till now, there are different signs and different ways in which people get impacted. Shubhi said how she didn't know how to laugh. Please forgive me in case I mix up names, but I think Shubhi said, I don't know how to laugh. And relationships on all fronts got impacted for her. Pallavi spoke about depression and how depression can be unique for everyone, but she felt hopeless. These are the signs that we look for. She went into an avoidant mood. And then she reached a point where she felt that there was no point in living, and that was a point where she felt and realized that she needed therapy. Sanaya spoke about how it started in the gut for her, where she thought it's an acidity and she went to a physician. So what we see here is there are different ways in which it could be related to about mental health, but it could show up in different ways for different people. And these are some of the signs that we can look for in ourselves as well. Just thought I'll summarize and we'll keep on.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Anya.
Thank you.
Like Pallavi said, and very rightly, that there are no scans or X-rays or blood test reports to actually show that there is something. In reality, there is something, some kind of I will not call it disorder, but yeah, there's some issue going on which needs to be addressed. Nilima, how did you realize that you were going through something mental health related? Did you kind of got to hear from your, let's say, family or friends that okay, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है? जब आप या तो different symptoms include जब आप ज्यादा सोते हैं या ज्यादा खाते हैं, binge eating करते हैं और etc. तो आपके बहुत बार फैमिली और फ्रेंड्स बोलते हैं अरे ये सब कुछ नहीं है, आप उठो, सुबह टाइम से उठो, वॉक एक्सरसाइज करो, रूटीन ठीक करो, and everything will be fine, right? So yes. How did that happen for you, Nilima? आपका क्या experience है इस बारे में?
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, like basically, I have been hearing that you are very lazy or अपना mind थोड़ा positive रखो, and it's all in your mind. And I discussed it. I have been going through these emotions like since my childhood, but I couldn't comprehend like what is wrong with me. I thought that there's something problematic in my behavior, but I think but I was fortunate that I discussed it with some of my friends, like I think she's also a part here, Vishakha, and she told me that you don't need to compare your symptoms with someone else's, like अगर वो छोटा भी हो सकता है, you don't need to compare कि अच्छा मेरे को बहुत, मैं तो कोई क्लिनिकल डिप्रेशन से सफर नहीं कर रही हूँ, तो फिर मैं क्यों थेरेपी लूँ? So these were the challenges which I was facing. So yeah, like, and when I discussed it with my parents, and like my mother till date, she says she doesn't use the word therapy, she uses the word counseling. She says कि नहीं ये तो आजकल की जनरेशन को क्या पता नहीं शौक हो गया है. So it's very difficult convincing parents, but then I had a good support system in in terms of my friends and also my partner, like they supported me to take a leap of faith and try it out. So I think that was
yeah, absolutely right. That's what we get to hear. And one thing which I think Shubhi also said, Nilima also said, and others would also agree, that it really goes a long time back before we realize that something is really going on within us that needs attention. I would say look for so to kind of like when to seek help. If I can just kind of summarize it for our audience. So I think broadly we should look at 3 areas of our life. Okay, one is our personal life, whether we are able to just take care of ourselves, our daily routine, bathing, sleeping, all those things. Second is our professional life, whether we are able to do what we are supposed to do. Either I'm getting very angry, I'm getting very snappy. Is there something different that is, or am I losing control over things, right? And the third is relationships. How are my relation? Are they getting impacted? Is there something that is? So if these three areas, any of these three areas, or all of these three areas, if they are getting impacted, and let's say for 2 weeks, I'm not really getting into any technical diagnosis, but broadly 2 weeks to minimum 2 weeks to, of course, longer, maybe a month or so, or 2 months or something like that, then it's better to kind of seek help and just see what is going on. Why I say this is that the more the time passes, that we are facing whatever is going on inside, it's all getting built up here. अंदर चलता रहता है वो, right? So it's not helping. And अगर हम खुद से वो चीज resolve नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, right, then we need to take help. So I think in terms of signs, apart from physical signs, bodily symptoms and all of that, अगर हम ये देखें कि ये तीनों areas of our life, personal, professional and relations, अगर ये सही नहीं जा पा रहे हैं, then we need to kind of do something about it. Okay, especially in terms of relationships, अगर वो सही नहीं जा रहे हैं, तो most of the time what we think that the problem is with the other person, right? Like invariably that's what we think, that okay, I am right and the other person is wrong. But is that so? So we really need to kind of look a little deeper and see what can be done. And I would like to ask Suranjana, because she especially came for relationship counseling. So how was her experience? What did you kind of discover about yourself, about the whole issues that you were facing at that point of time? So would you like to share that, your journey with us?
Yes, thank you, Madhu. So I would like to share that me and my husband were going through a really bad, rough patch. So we've been married for almost 5 years now, and from the very starting of our relationship, it wasn't going very well. But for first couple of years or first 3 years, we just kept dragging on. And obviously, like Madhu said, we were not taking responsibility of what we were doing or what we were not doing. We were just going on blaming the other person. We were just blaming each other for everything that was wrong in the relationship. So that kept building up over the 3 years, and then it came to a point that we could no longer even stand each other for a few minutes also. And that's when we realized that either it's make or break. So the only thing that was left that we could try was therapy, and we didn't know what it would entail really. Both of us didn't believe that there was a mental health issue or there was something wrong with either of us, but we wanted to give it a shot because the marriage was important for both of us, and there was a point in time when we did love each other a lot, so it was worth one try. But over the course of therapy, we realized, and it's for both of us, that it's not about the other person. It's about taking ownership and taking responsibility of your own actions. And it's not always what you did. It's sometimes it can be things that you did not do. Sometimes it can be about not standing up for yourself. And that leads to a lot of, built up inside and a lot of pent up frustration, which comes out in very negative and unhealthy ways and affects the relationship. And the other thing that we realized was that it goes long back. So there were things that we were carrying, both of us, from our childhood, like early childhood, like 5 years or 6 years of age, and there was a lot of baggage, there was a lot of hurt that both of us were carrying, and it was coming out in this relationship because it was, you know, both of us were acting like a vent for each other because we had nobody else to vent it out on. So yeah, it was definitely affecting other areas of our life as well. It was affecting professional and social circles as well, but it was really, really badly affecting each other and the relationship and the marriage as a whole. So after the realization, so it's been almost 2 years since we have been into therapy, both me and my husband, and it's not couple therapy. That's what the initial intent was, but very, very soon, like in the very early ages of stage of our lives, that we don't need couple therapy. We need to work on ourselves, and if we work on ourselves, you know, the marriage will take care of itself. So we have been taking individual therapy for almost 2 years now, and there has been a step change in how we, you know, react to situations, or not even react anymore. We respond to situations, and there is a way. It's very different now that we behave and you know, think about, or in the kind of beliefs that we carry. So it has definitely, I mean, it's almost, I wouldn't say the relationship is back to where it started from before marriage, but it's gone a really long way in coming back closer to each other and finding each other again.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Suranjana, for sharing that. In my personal experience as a therapist, relationship counseling is one of the most difficult for therapists as well as for clients. Right? Because for the simple reason that we don't take responsibility because we don't think that it's our responsibility. Right. So the moment we start accepting responsibility, knowing the concept that, okay, it is my emotions are my responsibility, you know, things start to change, right? What can I do? And, you know, what is it that I am doing? What is it that I am not doing for it to not work, right? That really kind of can make a lot of difference. Right. So, you know, many a times, and like just now, Suranjana also pointed out that she didn't know that what therapy entails, right? So, a lot of people, like, of course, most of the people, because it is still, there's not much awareness around it. I would like to again ask to start from, let's say, Shubhi, right? Would you like to share with our audience, you know, for a layman who doesn't understand what happens in therapy, right? Would you like to share with them your experience about what they can expect in therapy and what they cannot expect in therapy? How does the therapy work? What is the idea behind, you know, counseling?
Yeah. So I guess when I began with therapy, and I think when most of the people, when they begin with therapy, they feel it's probably like a magic pill, and we expect, like any doctor, or you know, any doctor we go to, we expect like you know, maybe the virus will go away in 5 days, or like 5 sessions or 3 sessions. So I got pretty impatient, and in my personal journey, I changed a couple of therapists, I changed a couple of doctors because I was very impatient, or I would just get very excited with the early results that I got in certain situations. But therapy is a process. It takes time. It's a very, very fruitful process, because when you, during a session, when you have those aha moments where you're like, oh, this was it, like I was just, and you know, I mean, as many sessions that I do with Madhu, and most of the times, like I just keep quiet. Sometimes I go quiet, and in my head I'm like, okay, really, I did that again. So I think it's all about communicating. It's the person, the person, your therapist, your counselor will helps you understand your feelings. They help you fight those, what do you call, you have these belief systems that we have since childhood, that ye aisa hi hota hai aur ye aisa hi hona chahiye. So it's just breaking them out, and it's very logical. It's nothing philosophical or nothing very flowery that they tell you. It's no pravachan. It's simple logic. It's simple breaking down of a situation. And I'll also add, like Suranjana said, that like when like she and her partner are separately working on their issues. So in the past, I've been married for only 9 months, and it's been like twice or thrice when I've thrown this idea of going for a couples therapy with my husband. And I've also asked Madhu. But in the session, I just realized that, okay, it's not our issue, it's my issue. So you can expect a lot of revelations when you are in therapy. But honestly, it's just communicating. It's just breaking down everything logically. We have a lot of must, should in our life, which we hold on to, and I think it's just removing of that rigidness that growing up we pick up. Like, it's just life, it happens. And yeah, so I think in my journey, what I've experienced is just logically dismantling the beliefs that you've grown up with, or what you've been told ki, things are certain way. It's that.
Right. Thank you so much. Suranjana, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to add that it's also about being honest. Most of the times we are not honest with ourselves. Forget about being honest with our partner or with anyone else. And it
Very
also
good
takes a
point.
lot of courage to be honest with your therapist also. But it's very important if you want results from the therapy. So you have to be absolutely naked in front of the therapist, and you have to be very, very honest to yourself. Otherwise, it will not work.
Absolutely right. And thank you for adding that point. Uh, Saraya, would you like to add something on this question? What therapy is for you? Like, what does therapy entail?
Yeah. So first, I'd like to say what it doesn't entail. It is not you sleeping on a couch and the therapist saying, "Tell me your problems and I'll solve everything for you." It's really not that. And in my case, I think the best part about therapy for me is it's like everything I know coming to the forefront, and it's actually me telling the therapist what I should be doing and what I should, basically be acting upon. And then in this case, Madhu telling me, so why are you not doing that? It is basically that. And I think the biggest thing that therapy gave to me is, as as she says, being comfortable in your discomfort and being able to accept what is around you and then respond and not react, like somebody said. It's about taking those action steps to work with somebody, not against or alongside somebody. So it's like if I had to work with my husband, work with my mother, or anything, it's about working along with them. And I think the biggest awareness that I got from therapy is that I do know everything that is there, but why am I not acting on it? And slowly and gradually working around that. And I think one of the other most beautiful things that Madhu has taught me is that everybody is an individual and we cannot change anybody else unless they wanted to change. And it was really difficult for me to accept that because I have an innate problem of pleasing everybody. And if people are not happy with me, then I get angry. Like, why are you not happy with me? But that's the thing. You can just do only that much. and then it's up to the other person how they want to react, respond to it. So I think that was one of the biggest realizations that I had from therapy as well. And of course, being able to accept that and deal with that discomfort of not being pleased by everyone. So yeah, that's how I look at therapy.
Absolutely right. Thank you so much for sharing. Therapy is a lot of self-work. It's all about self-work rather, right? As Shubhi rightly mentioned, there is no magic pill. Unfortunately, there is no magic pill. But the good part is that because you have the power to work on yourself, you have the choice to work on yourself. That's why the control lies with you to change your life, right? आपको अपने बेसिक अंडरलाइन जो इश्यूज होते हैं वो आइडेंटिफाई आप कर लेते हैं थेरेपी में and once you identify, then you kind of address them, whatever way it needs to be addressed. And that needs a lot of self-work because what we are talking about is something very deep-rooted, right? And we have a certain way to look at situations. And it takes consistent effort from our side to change that. And that's why जो भी therapy में आता है, जो भी I'm not talking about therapy per se, but yeah, anybody who seeks help, right? They have already taken the first step towards change, towards growth, towards healing. So that's really the beautiful part of it, right?
And I would like to sum it up with what I think Shubhi said, where she said it is logically dismantling our belief system and, the entire process of becoming self-aware about what are our shoulds, musts, and the belief system, and unlearning something if it is causing a rigidity and hence causing some unhealthy emotions within us is crucial and is a part of therapy. Just wanted to close with that. And we move on to the next one.
Yeah, thank you.
I think Harichi has raised his hand.
Bhaiya, can we take the questions after about 5 minutes or so?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Nilima, I would like to ask you, when you thought that, okay, now you realize that, okay, now I, need to do something. I'm facing some issues and I need to seek help. How did you go about, finding a therapist? Or what did you do? Like after you realized, what was the process for you then?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so I was very confused about whether I need therapy or not. So I began it with discussing it with my friends and their experiences with the therapist. So I got very honest opinions, they only basically, probably they gave me, they told me about a few therapists, and probably I just went through what process they follow. And I think you are only my first therapist, so I just started it with you. I had a conversation with you and I thought that I'll try it out and let's see. But you only told me that you have to be patient, it's not that it's a one-day magic. So yeah, I think so for me, finding a therapist, I think it was not a very rigorous process. So I just tried out, I tried out therapy with you, and yeah, so I think it's working fine.
Okay, yeah. So I think 2 points Nilima has made. One, how she went about is discussing with her friends. I mean, that's my personal opinion, but I, you know, say that this is probably the most effective, or at least one of the most effective methods, because if you talk to people who have, gone through it themselves, and if they recommend someone out there on their personal experience, then probably, uh, there's a high chance that you are meeting the, uh, or you are getting the right guidance, kind of a thing, right? And second, Nilima mentioned that, which is again very true, that even once you realize that, okay, you are facing some issues, uh, you still are doubtful whether to take therapy or not, isn't it? Right? Or even to whether to go to a psychiatrist or whether to go to a therapist, right? So, Pallavi, would you like to take up this question wherein I want to ask you that, what would you like to share with our audience? When should they go to psychiatrist? When should they go to therapist? And, what is the role of each of them? If
Okay, so I know there's a there is a there are pro medicine and anti medicine people. So I don't know. I mean, for me, uh, therapy was not in the picture at all. I did not even know that therapy was like in movies, right? So
Mhm.
I went to a psychiatrist first because you're used to going to doctors and all. So I
Yes.
my original agenda to go to a psychiatrist was just to get a confirmation that yes,
Hmm.
whatever I'm feeling is valid.
Hmm.
But medicines do, of course, if you are going to that stage where you feel like you don't want to live anymore, or you are very badly affected, your day to day functioning is so bad that there's nothing happening in your life except for hopelessness. I think it would be good to go to a psychiatrist and take some consultation and understand what is happening in your body, because it's not just, like I said, it's not just situational, right? सब कुछ बुरा हो गया and you are reacting to it, that's a different thing. But you are feeling low and you are feeling, and depression or mental health also creates a heaviness in your body, you can feel it. So if you are
Yep.
feeling that, it is always good to consult a psychiatrist. You always have a choice whether to take a medicine or not. You also have a choice to take it for a while and stop it. Okay, but every psychiatrist that I went to, they have also recommended that apart from medication, you definitely need to go to therapy, because that's a good combination. It works on both aspects of your problem or disease or whatever. So
Hmm.
that's what I did. Did medication for 5, 6, 7 months. But then, yeah, the intensity of the emotions, like I was diagnosed with major depression. So that got better. But then there's something called persistent depression, which is not fun at all. So that was not getting better, right? So then you
Hmm.
realize, okay, you need, and you have to talk to people and you get advice like kaju khao, routine, exercise. You are so lazy, get involved, go get a job, you will be
Yeah.
happy, go get a job.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and when you tell them that I can't, then those negative beliefs you already have out of yourself, because depression and mental health illness definitely creates guilt in your mind all the time. It's like, why can't you overcome this? What is so difficult about it, right?
True.
So therapy, in my opinion, it helps you because, first of all, for me, it was one person having my back, you. Like,
Hmm.
I've talked to people, they are well-meaning people. Of course, they have my best interests in mind, but they are not professionals. If my mother,
Hmm.
sometimes she will say, just get up and walk, and I know she cares for me. So when you have a therapist or professional, you know that they are invested in your growth or your improvement or whatever. So that was the biggest thing for me. I felt very alone. Second thing is, it also teaches. Am I answering the right question though? That's what you asked, right? Yeah. So
I think I've
therapy.
answered. Huh. Huh.
Yeah. So therapy. I'll just continue to watch Viveka. It's not magic. It's not magic. The biggest thing it teaches you is that you have to take responsibility, and
Hmm.
and therapy is not spoon feeding. You come up with those revelations yourself with the help of your therapist. And
Hmm.
if you expect that you will just go there and a therapist will tell you what to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, that is not a good therapist. So just be mindful of that. The responsibility of improvement of your life or your mind is yours. A therapist facilitates that. So that's my 2 bits on it, and you helped me do that. So I'm very thankful for that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pallavi. Yes,
No problem.
Sanaya wants to add something.
Yeah, just a small thing which I wanted to add was your psychiatrist is going to help with the medication only on the surface. And Madhu, I mean, basically, your therapist is going to go down to the deep core and work on you. So it's basically an inside out approach. And I think when Madhu told me this at the beginning, I realized that both work in tandem with each other, especially if you're going to be on medication or if you're at a very high level or on a higher level on the spectrum of being depressed. It is important for taking medication. It is important to be consistent with that, but therapy goes in tandem with that. So it's sometimes it's not an either or situation, is what I feel.
Yes, absolutely right. So I'll just like to summarize this particular question, because sometimes there's a lot of apprehension in taking medication. First of all, not everyone needs medication. Okay. You will need medication only if the symptoms are too bad. Okay. Otherwise, you will, of course, work on yourself and get fine, get better with therapy. But at the same time, medicine definitely helps when the symptoms are too bad. Because if the symptoms are too bad, when I'm saying symptoms are too bad, what I mean to say, sometimes what happens is that uh, people are not just kind of, let's say, they are getting so emotional that we are not really able to talk. If, let's say, that is the situation, or sometimes we are feeling too numb to talk, right? So, because ultimately, in therapy is a talk therapy. We are talking. We are not really doing something physically or giving any medication. So the person needs to be at a certain level of emotional balance for him or her to be able to take therapy, right? So if that is needed, then definitely do take medication. Medication is not necessarily habit forming. Okay, medication, and in case, let's say, there is some kind of a side effect that you are experiencing, then do consult with your doctor, right? What I'm saying right now is not, I'm not saying that that because I'm a therapist. What I want to say is that at least in India, there are quite a few psychiatrists who do not believe in the concept of therapy, and that is not so nice, unfortunate, I will say, right? Like someone came to my mind just now who, if anyway, needed therapy and did not get. So what I'm saying is, go to a therapist first. If you are experiencing something, go to a therapist first. That would be my personal advice to you. And if the therapist thinks that, okay, you need to really go to psychiatrist, then he or she will recommend you to a psychiatrist. Okay, you can do other way around also, but I would personally suggest this particular way, right? And Sanaya very aptly put it that therapy and medication goes hand in hand. So usually, what happens is that, let's say if, the medications have started, then as we go along working in therapy, okay, then and you go along working on your beliefs and all of that, and you keep getting better, the medication can go on reducing, and then it will stop, preferably, hopefully after a certain point of time. So it has to go hand in hand. But if needed, please do take medication. Okay? Yeah, that is what I wanted to. Any thing else, or should we, make the floor open for questions now? Anupama, what do you say?
Yeah, I think we have covered most of it, and there were
Okay, or
a
we can
couple of raised
come
hands.
back.
Yeah,
Okay,
there were a
yeah,
couple
let's,
of raised hands.
yeah.
So yeah, those who have questions can. So what do? We open the room for questions
Yes,
now?
yes,
All
let's
right.
do that.
All right.
Let's do that.
I'll check the chat box as well, but I had seen a few people had raised hands.
Yeah,
So
Githari Bhaiya, I think, was the first one, so I think
Yeah.
we can ask him.
Yeah.
Githari Bhaiya, please ask your question.
मैं जो डिस्कशन सुना अभी कुछ स्पेसिफिक सिम्टम्स हो सकते हैं सो दैट वी कैन आइडेंटिफाई हमारे कोई नियर एंड डियर या हमको खुद को कभी ये जरूरत पड़ रही है बिकॉज एक ये अप्स एंड डाउन तो एवरी डे वी फील एंगर भी कोई चीज पे होता है कोई पे नहीं होता है डर भी कोई चीज का होता है कोई का नहीं होता है कोई को स्पेसिफिक डर होता है कोई अंधेरे से डर जाता है बाकी शेर से नहीं डरता है so how can we identify कि हाँ he or she needs therapy or say medication?
Right. बिल्कुल. तो उसमें बहुत सारे सिम्टम्स हैं. एक तो ब्रॉडली जैसे मैंने कहा कि 3 चीजें हमें अपनी लाइफ की देखनी चाहिए कि पर्सनल लाइफ हम अपनी सही से कर पा रहे हैं कि नहीं, डे टू डे बेसिस पे जो हम अपना पर्सनल है, जैसे मान लीजिए हमारी नींद सही से आ रही है या नहीं आ रही है, भूख सही से लग रही है नहीं रही, क्या तो हम बहुत ज्यादा सो रहे हैं या नींद आ नहीं रही है, सुबह फ्रेश नहीं उठ रहे हैं, जब उठते हैं तो एकदम फ्रेश नहीं लगता है, बिस्तर से उठने का मन नहीं करता है. ये जो भी सिम्टम्स हैं ये ऐसा नहीं कि 1-2 दिन होंगे तो फिर हमें लगेगा कि हमें हेल्प लेने की जरूरत है भैया. बट जैसे बहुत दिनों तक अगर ये कैरी फॉरवर्ड होते हैं, मिनिमम 15 डेज बोलते हैं हम टेक्निकली, राइट. बट अगर आप इसके लीजिए 1-2 महीने तक भी या बार बार हो रहा है, फ्रीक्वेंसी बार बार हो रहा है, तो उस तरह से हमें देखना चाहिए. नींद हो गई हमारी सही से आ रही नहीं आ रही है, भूख लग रही है तो हम बहुत ज्यादा बिंज ईटिंग कर रहे हैं या बिल्कुल भूख नहीं लग रही है, या फिर जैसे हमारे गट हेल्थ के इश्यूज आते हैं, जैसे कई बार लगता है बहुत एसिडिटी हो रही है और कुछ भी हमने सारे टेस्ट करवा लिए बट उसमें कुछ निकल के नहीं आ रहा है. कई बार एंजाइटी के कारण बहुत ज्यादा हम ऐसे दिल की धड़कनें बढ़ जाती हैं, वो सिम्टम्स होते हैं. कई बार बहुत ज्यादा ऐसे ट्रेमर्स काइंड ऑफ महसूस होते हैं, राइट. कहीं भी किसी भी बॉडी पार्ट में ट्रेमर्स बहुत महसूस हो सकते हैं, ये सिम्टम्स हो सकते हैं. या हमें ऐसा लगे कि हम बहुत ज्यादा गुस्सा आ रहा है, वंस इन अ वाइल गुस्सा ठीक है, बहुत ज्यादा गुस्सा आ रहा है, या हम छोटी सी कई बार हम लोगों को बोलते हुए सुनते हैं कि तुम तो बहुत ही इमोशनल हो, राइट, तुम हर बात पे बहुत ज्यादा सेंसिटिव हो. इस तरह से बहुत कभी हमें लगता है कि सब लोग ही हमें इस तरह से क्यों बोल रहे हैं, तो उस समय दैट्स लाइक अ साइन कि देयर इज समथिंग दैट इज नॉट दैट कि कोई प्रॉब्लम है उसमें, बट हाँ कि समथिंग इज हैपनिंग विच मे बी नीड्स अटेंशन. इसी तरह से कभी इसके साइकोसोमैटिक सिम्टम्स होते हैं जिसमें कि हाथ पैरों में या बहुत किसी भी बॉडी पार्ट में दर्द बहुत ज्यादा होता है, माइग्रेन्स होने लगते हैं, बहुत फ्रीक्वेंटली माइग्रेन्स होने लगते हैं. जो चीजें हमें पहले करने में मन लगता था वो हमें कुछ भी करने में मन ही नहीं लगता है, हमारा काम पे जाने को मन नहीं करता है, कुछ भी करने को मन नहीं करता है, लगता है कि सिर्फ बॉडी में एनर्जी फील नहीं होती, लगता है कि सिर्फ हम पड़े रहें, और उसके बाद भी एक रेस्टलेसनेस रहती है हमेशा बॉडी में, जिंदगी के प्रति उत्साह नहीं फील होता है, ऐसा भी हो सकता है. तो या तो हमारा इमोशनल एनर्जी लेवल जो है या तो बहुत ज्यादा अप होता है कि बहुत ज्यादा हम चिड़चिड़े हैं, गुस्सा हो रहा है, रेस्टलेसनेस है बॉडी में, या तो वो एक इमोशनल एनर्जी लेवल अप है, उसके सिम्टम्स होते हैं. या फिर एक लोअर देन नॉर्मल इमोशनल एनर्जी लेवल होता है जिसमें होता है कि हम बिल्कुल बस बिस्तर पर पड़े हैं, कुछ करने का मन नहीं कर रहा है. उस तरह के सिम्टम्स हम देख सकते हैं. I think ये फिलहाल मेरे दिमाग में आ रहे हैं. Anupama, do you have anything to add, or any of my panelists have anything to add?
I would like to just add one bit, गिरधारी जी. ये जो symptoms मधु जी ने बताया, कभी कभी ऐसे होता है कि हमको कुछ नहीं है, फिर भी कोई एक दिन हमको मन नहीं करता है कि उठे, मन नहीं करता है कि एक दिन कभी पेट दुख रहा है. लेकिन ये सिम्टम्स लगातार होने के वजह से, अगर हमारी जो डे टू डे रूटीन है, हमारा जो जो चीजें हम एक दिन में करते हैं, जैसे अगर हम ऑफिस जाते हैं या घर पे कुछ काम करते हैं और उस पे असर पड़ रहा है और वो हम नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, जैसे ऑफिस का काम हो, हमारे कुछ रिलेशनशिप्स हो, कुछ रिश्तों में तनाव आ रही है और उस वजह से हमें तनाव या फिर इमोशनल डिस्टरबेंस महसूस हो रहा है, दैट इज द टाइम जो आपको सोचना चाहिए कि हाँ, शायद मुझे काउंसलिंग एक बार कंसिडर करना चाहिए. आई थिंक दैट इज व्हाट आई हैव टू ऐड.
Thank you.
I would
Shall
like
I
to say something.
Yes, Pallavi.
एक और चीज ये है कि जरूरी नहीं है ना कि आपके ऊपर एक मेंटल इलनेस का स्टैम्प लगा हो टू गो टू थेरेपी. अगर आपको लग रहा है कि यू आर नॉट कोपिंग वेल विद योर लाइफ एंड वट एवर सिम्टम्स मधु हैड मेंशन्ड एंड अनु हैड मेंशन्ड, आप फिर भी थेरेपी पे जा सकते हो, राइट? इसमें कोई मतलब देयर इज नो हार्म इन आस्किंग फॉर हेल्प. समबडी हु इज प्रोफेशनल, जिसको पता है कि ये चीजें होती हैं, हर इंसान के साथ होती हैं. इफ दे कैन हेल्प यू, देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग इन दैट. तो जरूरी नहीं है कि आप के ऊपर पहले से कोई डिक्लेयर करे कि नहीं, आप मानसिक रूप से पीड़ित है या बीमार है. यू कैन स्टिल गो टू अ थेरेपिस्ट एंड देन मे बी यू विल फाइंड आउट इन द प्रोसेस कि हाँ, हो सकता है कि दिस इज मोर देन जस्ट अ जनरल थिंग. एंड सेकंड थिंग इज, ये सब चीजें जो होती है वो एक दिन दो दिन की नहीं होती है. They will continue for a long while. Or like Madhu said, low energy. I could give you my example. Low energy मतलब हर काम, छोटे से छोटा काम, ब्रश करो दांत को, that also takes willpower, which is very stupid but it does. So ये सब चीजें आपको खुद पता चलने लग जाती हैं. आप अवॉइड करो अलग बात है, but I think the person themselves would know कि ये normal नहीं है. Am I making sense? Sorry, I have to interrupt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No. Thank you. That's really a very value-added input. Okay.
थैंक यू सो मच.
तो बेसिकली मुझे लग रहा है आपको अपना एक सुनना, अंदर से जो आवाज आती है, आपको पता चलता है कि चीजें सही नहीं चल रही हैं. मैं बहुत कोशिश कर रहा हूँ या कर रही हूँ, बट फिर भी चीजें सही नहीं चल रही हैं. एक ब्रॉडली दिस इज व्हाट यू कैन लुक एट, एंड वेरी राइटली मेंशन बाय पल्लवी कि मतलब ऐसा कोई जरूरी नहीं है. इनफैक्ट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम मैं हमेशा ये कहती हूँ कि निप इट इन द बड. कहने का मतलब कि ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको क्लिनिकली डिप्रेस या क्लिनिकली एंजाइटी डिसऑर्डर होना जरूरी है हेल्प लेने के लिए. इट्स बेटर कि आप पहले ले लें, क्योंकि अगर वो चीजें बहुत बढ़ जाती हैं तो फिर उतना ही ज्यादा टाइम एक मैं बोलूंगी लगता है, और दूसरा थोड़ा सा आपकी ऑफ कोर्स लाइफ अफेक्ट हो चुकी होती है, तो चीजों को वापस एक अच्छे पोजीशन में लेके आने में उतना ज्यादा टाइम और एफर्ट लगता है. तो क्लिनिकल किसी डिसऑर्डर का होना की वेट मत करिए. जैसे ही आपको लगता है कि चीजें सही नहीं जा रही हैं, आई एम नॉट एबल टू डील विद थिंग्स, प्लीज कंसल्ट समवन. really kind of, it doesn't harm, at least it doesn't harm. एक evaluation हो जाएगा ज्यादा से ज्यादा.
This last one is good.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Okay. Yes.
Hello.
Who's that?
That's
I'm,
Vinod Shringari ji.
I'm Dr. Vinod. I just wanted to add, there is I can see if there is a swing of emotions, because someday you may feel very energetic and someday you may feel very low. That swing is also should be one point you should think to take consideration of or help of a therapist.
Absolutely.
That is my thinking.
Yes, absolutely, Dr. Shingare. Yeah. कभी आपको बहुत अप लगता है, कभी डाउन लगता है. That is also one of the right.
Okay. Thank you. Viraj, I see your hand raised. You have something to add on or would like to ask something?
Yes. Sometimes I want to add that sometimes you yourself feel victimized, or you feel that others are more unrespectful to you or something like that. which is not that prominent, but you keep on thinking for many people same way.
So you're saying that there is a pattern that you see that, multiple लोगों के साथ आपको same feeling आ रही है कि आप
They are
victim
disrespectful
mode में हो वैसे.
हाँ, yes.
Okay, and वो भी एक sign हो सकता है कि आप जाके देखो कि आपको thank you for adding that.
Very right, very right. आप हैंड रेज करके क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं, अनम्यूट करके क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं, या चैट बॉक्स में डाल सकते हैं. Amita had asked a question. How does one recognize that one needs help? Amita, has your question been answered during the discussion, or do you still want some more clarity?
Yeah, my question has been answered, Madhu. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I got that response. Sorry, आज
Okay.
power नहीं है घर में.
No, it's okay. We can still see you. Okay, all right.
हाँ.
Thank you.
All right.
And in the chat, I don't see any other questions. Just there is somebody who wants your mobile number, Madhu. So
Okay.
do I share with her on personal or something like that?
Yeah, you can do that.
I'll do that. Deepa ji, I'll share Madhu's number with you on personal chat.
Thank you so much.
Meanwhile, anybody else has any other questions?
Anybody else has any questions? Please ask. कुछ भी question पूछ सकते हैं. ऐसा ना लगे कि कोई भी क्वेश्चन स्टूपिड क्वेश्चन नहीं होता है. कोई भी डाउट है पूछ सकते हैं आप.
Hi, Madhu ma'am, Vishakha here.
Yeah, hi Vishakha.
I have a very general question.
Yes.
अगर हमारे जानने वालों में से किसी को लेके हमें लगे कि हाँ इनको थेरेपी के लिए जाना चाहिए, या हम वरी करें किसी के लिए, तो किस तरह से उसको प्यार से समझाया जाए, क्योंकि
Right.
ये बहुत सेंसिटिव इशू है.
That's a very sensitive issue, Vishakha. Yeah, I think that's a very good point and a very sensitive issue that you have raised. All right. So, Vishakha, I think for the benefit of all, I would like to start by saying that we all have a responsibility, if that's the correct word, to kind of, since we are attending this session, that we are more probably equipped now to be able to see that शायद कुछ कहीं चीजें हैं जो कि जिन्हें like which needs to be addressed in either friends or family or someone who's known to us. So that's number one. Number two, now how do we really kind of introduce the concept of seeking help? First of all, understand that it's a very sensitive thing for you to talk about therapy or seeking help to anybody. So please don't say that you need therapy or you need help. So that is something, that needs to be kept in mind. कई बार हम अगर आपस में कुछ झगड़ा होता है तो हम बोलते हैं कि अच्छा मतलब तुम्हें इतनी प्रॉब्लम्स है, व्हाई डोंट यू गो एंड टेक थेरेपी. Let's not kind of lash the concept of therapy as like something, I don't know, punishment or something that you need to correct yourself in that zone, in that way, right? It's a sensitive topic. So first of all, उनको सुनिए. और अगर आपका पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस है, अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि आप कुछ आप उनसे ये कह सकते हैं, इफ यू आर कंफर्टेबल, कि मेरा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस ऐसा हो रहा, मुझे भी इस तरह की चीजें एक्सपीरियंस होती थी और मुझे बेनिफिट हुआ, तो would you like to try it out too? Would you like to at least talk to someone for once? Because I can see that you are really kind of struggling. I can see that you're suffering. Okay, or something like that. So, introduce the topic very, very sensitively to the other person. So, अगर आपका personal experience है तो आप अपना example दे सकते हैं if you are comfortable giving that. अदरवाइज आप इन जनरल आप उसको बहुत ही सेंसिटिवली अप्रोच कीजिए कि यू नो what I've experienced, what I've heard, that this is something like that happens, you know, और उसमें आप खुल के बात कर सकते हैं, और आप जो थेरेपिस्ट होते हैं वो बिल्कुल नॉन जजमेंटल होते हैं, तो आप एकदम खुल के अपनी बात शेयर कर सकते हैं, और शायद आपको हेल्प हो. सो कीप इट लिटिल टेंटेटिव व्हेन यू आर you know, suggesting the concept of seeking help to someone. Please be very tentative about it. Say that, would you like to try it out? I believe in this. Would you like to try it out once? You know, something of that sort. Shubhi wants to add something.
Yes. Madhu, so in my personal experience, jaisa raha hai, like I've had, I mean, once I became aware of kya hota hai, and you know what are the patterns, and when when my friends or family, in fact I started identifying the patterns within my family, because there were certain things that, I mean, we were all set to believe. So I saw that pattern. So I think what you said is the correct way. The first thing आपको क्या करना होता है, that आपको पहले उनका trust gain करना है, आपको उनको सुनना है. So it's not like you can just say जाके कि उन्होंने कुछ बोला और आपने उनको बोल दिया कि आप therapy जाओ. आप उनको सुनो. I mean, at least make them feel validate करना the emotion that, you know, this is happening, ये actual चीज है. So, you know, maybe you hear to them a couple of times and then you say, you know, this is what I've heard, or with me, it really helped me. And also because I was vocal about my situation. So I went on and I shared, and also, because I was vocal, because I was frequently used to write about my experiences on social media, I had a lot of people approach me as well, that, you know, we've been feeling so, can you suggest, and what can you do, is it right? And so that's how you know, you probably propagate the idea of therapy, or that's how you can build trust or gain people's trust and then lead them to therapy.
Yes, very, very good point mentioned, Shubhi, that first you listen to them and acknowledge and validate their feelings, okay, and then very gently, very you know, tentatively introduce the idea, and then leave it up to them. Okay, maybe you know, maybe come back after a couple of days or something like that, but don't force them, because you know, there's a lot that is going on before anyone really kind of takes this decision. Have we answered your question, Vishakha?
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
I see Sanaya has raised her hand.
Sanya Khurana.
Sanya.
Yeah.
Sanya.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
So my question is ki I've heard that I've heard a lot about people like sorry, I'll start again.
No problem. Yeah.
I have had experience with depression and anxiety, and I've been taking therapy for 2 years. But before I started taking therapy, a lot of people used to, and even one of the people I consult, like one of the psychologists I consulted also said that आजकल बहुत cool हो गया depression में होना, तो इसलिए लोग जान के मतलब इसलिए people who even don't have any issues, वो उनको लगता है कि अच्छा कोई issue नहीं है तो कुछ तो होना चाहिए, तो इसलिए वो ऐसे करते हैं कि मतलब your brain is tricking yourself into thinking that you need help. So at that time I kind of dismissed her, but then it does come, I mean, I have been through this process. Therapy has helped me. I've come out of it. But आज भी वो thought आता है कि कहीं मैं अपने आप को and पूरी दुनिया को बेवकूफ तो नहीं बना रही. Just, you know, maybe my brain is so much attention seeking that it is tricking itself and the entire world into thinking that something is wrong while nothing is wrong. because of so many achievements that I have. So I don't know if my question was clear, but it was make sense. But yeah.
No, I think I understand what you're saying, Sanya, and I would like to kind of share my thoughts about it. And you can tell me whether it makes sense or not, or have I answered your question or not. See, I definitely wouldn't say that your brain is tricking you into believing that you are having depression. That's sort of invalidating what you're going through. Okay. So let's not do that. We can't do that because our feelings are real. We feel is a reality. Whatever we are feeling, whether it is hurt or whether it is anxiety or whether it is depression or any kind of emotion, any other emotion is a reality. Okay. So let's not invalidate our feelings. Having said that, having said that, you said that, okay, there are a lot of achievements. So that's brilliant. But, it doesn't mean that, people who have had achievements cannot have, mental health issues. They can very well have. We don't need, very specific triggers, so to say. I think one of our panelists, I think Pallavi also said that, हमारी जिंदगी में सब कुछ सही चल रहा होता है. Apparently, on the face of it, there's nothing, wrong going on in our life, but still we can be going through mental health issues. So I would say, Sanya, that it's really not a good idea if you are continuing to say that to yourself that, you are tricking, your brain is tricking you into believing that depression is there. I don't know whether I have answered your question, whether I have heard you, this is what you wanted to say. You can share with me.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to be sure that the feelings that I'm feeling, even if right now I don't have a logical explanation to why I'm feeling that, even then that means that they're valid. Like,
of course, feelings are always valid. Our emotions are always valid. The thought process, the belief behind them, they can be questioned and they need to be questioned, but feelings are to be respected.
Okay.
Suranjana would like to add something. Suranjana, we can't hear you.
Suranjana, you're on mute, Suranjana.
Sorry, I was speaking, but I was on mute. Sorry. So I totally agree with you that, feelings have to be valid. They cannot be invalid. But can I also add that the very feeling that, my brain might be tricking me, the very thought that my brain could be tricking me, that itself is a good enough reason to, to go and seek help, at least for once. And, this thought itself can be a good reason.
Yeah. I think a very valid point that the existence of this thought itself can be a starting point for you to, think and maybe start exploring something.
And I just wanted to add, and if this helps, Tanya, in fact, I had a similar experience as yours, where my feelings were like invalidated or by a professional, and I was told कि तुम कर क्या रहे हो अपने आप को ठीक करने को. And this is not only that one time that it happened with me. This might or might not arise because there's lack of awareness. So you will very often hear कि exercise नहीं करते हो, सुबह उठते नहीं हो, phone में इतना ज़्यादा लगे रहते हो. So I think we all need a constant reminder of, like what Madhu said, that feelings are real. They are meant to be felt. A lot of times in my conversations with my friends also this comes up where they're like कि यार मेरे को नहीं होना है, मेरे को गुस्सा नहीं होना है, and और ये मेरे को ऐसा फील नहीं करना है. And my I think my only advice and what has also worked with me is that you don't have to fight your feeling. You, until and unless you allow yourself to feel that feeling, you can't recover. It still happens with me when I'm in my low days. Earlier I used to fight that, okay, क्यों मैं बाहर क्यों नहीं जा पा रही हूँ, मैं कुछ कर क्यों नहीं पा रही हूँ, but now I, for some moment, for some time, I let it absorb me. I feel bad, I'm feeling bad, something has happened, I let myself feel bad, and then when I bounce back, it's pretty natural that, you know, I don't feel that something really bad has happened with me, because in that process, when you're feeling, you're validating your feelings, you're logically also thinking about it, so it helps you to come out of that. And if you don't feel that, I think that's the bad part.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Thank
You know,
Thank you,
starting point for us, you know, to start is that, you know, ऐसा नहीं कि मुझे गुस्सा नहीं होना है, but realizing that कि मुझे गुस्सा आ रहा है. Okay, acknowledging that, and then, okay, मुझे गुस्सा आ रहा है, so now what do I do about it? So rather than saying I should not be getting angry, acknowledging that, okay, I am, you know, experiencing anger more than I should probably, or, you know, I would like to, and then what do I do about it? So that's the starting point. Okay, so I would like to kind of just take a 2-minute, I will say, pause, and because you know, it's 6:35, though we plan to kind of, we are getting questions, and you know, I think Anupama is also enjoying answering them, and our panelists are, if you know, they can also stay back. But if anybody kind of wishes to leave at this point of time, we would like to just kind of give out our email addresses in the chat box, in case there is any questions that you may want to ask later, anything that comes to your mind for anything, any kind of clarity, any kind of questions, anything related to mental health. I and Anupama both are there. Just mention mental health forum in the subject line so that we know that, okay, you are one of the participants who have been here, or maybe some other friend of yours or whosoever, that this question is mental health related, because these are actually our personal email IDs that we use. So that's what we are doing. So I'm just sharing my email ID here.
I have put it on the chat, Madhu.
Mine also?
Yes. You can
Oh,
check if
okay.
it is the correct one, and I have written the subject. Please check na your email address is correct. I think it is.
Yes,
Madhu
yes,
Hisaria
yes.
70. Ha. So मैंने डाला है.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
So everyone can refer to the chat box for our email address and the subject as well. Meanwhile,
Okay, great.
Manish ji had put on the chat, and then he had also muted himself once. So I just thought, you know, does Manish ji want to add something? I had to mute him because बातें चल रही थी कुछ, and he's also put on the chat multiple thoughts in the mind at the same time. When there is a lot of confusion, we feel helpless. Manish ji, आप कुछ पूछना चाहते हो specifically?
Is Manish there?
Yeah, he's here, but he's on mute right now.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we'll go ahead. I think he can come back if he has anything.
Okay, okay, okay. And yeah, so thank you all so much for being a part of this session. We are continuing. Okay, so if anybody wants to stay back here for some more time, we are here. The panelists are also here for some time. Is that okay? Any of the panelists doesn't want to leave, right?
No, I'm good. I'm here.
Okay. Okay, great, great. So
Sorry.
you all are welcome to stay if anybody wants to. Yes, yes, Manish.
I might have to leave.
Sanaya.
Is that okay?
Okay, okay,
No
Sanaya.
problem.
Sanaya, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining in and
Thank
really
you, Madhu, for
sharing.
giving me this experience, and thank you, everyone, and all
Thank
the
you,
very best.
Sanaya. Thank you, Sanaya, for being a part of this. Thank you so much.
See you.
Yeah, bye. Manish ji,
Yes,
you
Manish,
can
go ahead.
unmute. Manish ji, unmute करके बोल सकते हैं आप. I see his hand is raised, but should I unmute him because? Okay.
Yeah, you can unmute. No?
Yeah, I did that. Manish ji, बताइए.
कभी क्या होता है कि एक वंस आपकी थेरेपी बहुत सबके माइंड में आती
आपकी
Clear?
आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रही है मनीष, आपकी आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रही है, प्लीज थोड़ा सा माइक के पास आके बोलिए।
हाँ, मैं कह रहा था कि मैम कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि 5-6 तरह के थॉट्स एक साथ आपके माइंड में आ रहे हैं और वो बहुत जंबल कर जाता है। सो आई थिंक जब आप काम कर रहे हो, आपको नींद आ रही है, खाना अच्छे से खा रहे हो, सब सही है, बट जब माइंड प्ले बहुत ज्यादा होता है तो आई थिंक मेरा रीजन वही था मैम, आपसे बात करने का जो मैंने स्टार्ट किया, तो दैट कैन आल्सो बी रीजन।
अच्छा, हाँ, ओके, यू आर दैट मनीष, ओके।
या तो लोग, मैम मुझे तो ये लगता है कि जब जब से मैंने थेरेपी लिया है, जब से मैं समझा हूँ, तो मैं आसपास देखता हूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि काफी लोगों को जरूरत है, बट वो एक्चुअली समझ ही नहीं पा रहे हैं कि मतलब जरूरत है हमें, मतलब थेरेपी लेने का, क्योंकि ये कंफ्यूजन जो है, मल्टीपल थॉट्स, मल्टीपल कंफ्यूजन, हमेशा आप चिंता में रहते हो, और जब से मैंने आपसे बात करने लगा तो आई मीन क्लैरिटी आई है मेरी मतलब लाइफ में या मेरे काम में या फिर मेरे सोच में। सो वो मैं ऐड करना चाहता था मैम।
ओके ओके, थैंक यू सो मच मनीष, थैंक यू सो मच। आई एम ग्लैड कि आपको क्लैरिटी आई है, एंड अभी काफी काम की जरूरत है।
हाँ, यस,
ओके,
Thank you for
बट
sharing.
या व्हाट ही मेंशन्ड इज राइट कि बहुत सारी थॉट्स जम्बल्ड अप होती हैं कई बार, मतलब ऐसा लगता है कि सो इट्स यू नो वन ऑफ द वेरी गुड वेज व्हिच आई यू नो सजेस्ट इज just to write, okay, and write down free flow, in a free flow manner. Just write down, just take a pencil and paper. अगर उसमें भी दिक्कत आ रही है तो just make voice notes. Writing is better, but अगर बिल्कुल वो नहीं कर पा रहे हैं तो make voice notes. It will help you to put down your thoughts on the paper in a much more categorical manner. Write down your thoughts in a free flow manner, Amita. So it will help you to you know actually be able to see that what is happening inside the brain, because जब अंदर रहता है तो बहुत जम्बल्ड अप रहता है, like, और लगता है कि पता ही नहीं चल रहा कि what all is going on. यू नो, तो जब आप लिखते हैं तो दो चीजें होती हैं जो मैं बोलती हूँ कि एक तो ये होता है कि आपके माइंड थोड़ा सा लाइट फील होता है, इट फील्स अ लिटिल कामर, बिकॉज आपके माइंड से इतना सारा सा बोझ हट के एक तरह से यू नो पेपर के ऊपर आ गया है, you know, so the issues have not been addressed, but your brain would feel, your mind would feel a bit calmer. दूसरी की एक पॉसिबिलिटी और है, that जब आप लिखते हैं तो there is a lot of clarity in thoughts that may come, so that will also help a lot. बहुत सारी कई बार होता है हम लिखने के दौरान में ही इश्यूज खत्म हो जाते हैं, स्पेशली ये शुभी के साथ बहुत होता है। तो जब शुभी कहती है ना, जब शुभी और मेरा सेशन होता है तो मतलब मैं 1% बोलती हूँ, शुभी 99% बोलती है, लाइक इन टर्म्स ऑफ यू नो the session, the quantity of this time that we speak. So, and most of the time what happens is that she's talking and she's like, okay, yeah, I got my answer. I have not done anything. And she thinks I've done something. So that's the brilliant part of it. You know, so when you kind of say it out loud or write it, you know, it becomes really clear in your mind. You may get your answers. Right. So thank you, Manish.
I would like to add an analogy here. It's like, you know, washing machine के अंदर जैसे कपड़े ऐसे जम्बल्ड अप होते हैं, जब सारे थॉट्स रहते दिमाग में तो वैसे जम्बल्ड अप होते हैं। हम उनको एक एक निकाल के ऐसे सुखा के जब घड़ी करके रखते हैं तो इट्स ऑर्गेनाइज्ड एंड वी नो, you know, what's where, and
right. Very good
to us.
And I guess when the first time I went on for seeking help, one of my concerns was also like the way that I described to my doctor, Dr. Rao, that I didn't even know what was I thinking, but I felt that there were multiple projector screens that were on in my head, और सब एक साथ चालू हैं, and it led to so much of exhaustion because तुम्हारा दिमाग इतना चल रहा था. So I think and also writing is like talking. आप उसको communicate कर रहे हो, तो वो it's just a download of whatever is going on in your head, and like Anu said, वो सब untangle हो जाता है and आपको और clear picture दिखने लगती है, and maybe it will just, I mean, at a lot of times it just helps you, अरे यार अच्छा ये इस वजह से हो रहा था, so that's why I'm feeling, so it helps resolving your own emotions as well.
Right. Okay. I have one question. If there are no other questions from the audience.
Ma'am, can I ask something?
Who's that? Sorry.
Shifani.
Yeah, Shifani, please go ahead.
Good evening. First, the reason that I'm not sharing my photo is because I'm coloring my hair, so it would look very funny. So that's why I'm coloring my hair. क्योंकि मुझे शर्म आ रही है photo दिखाने में. Second, I wanted to ask, what advice would you give a 24-year-old who has just gotten out of a relationship of 2 years? Like for the first one.
What advice would you give?
To a 24-year-old girl like me who has just gotten out of a relationship of 2 years. So I'm feeling a bit low and, out of touch with me. So that's what I wanted to know. What advice would you give to me?
I don't give advice. That's the problem. Well, talk to someone first of all. So first of all,
so sorry.
No problem. You can mute yourself now. So, I think what you can do is write down, like we were just now talking. Okay, write down. There's a probability that when you write down, and write down, one, what you're going through, the thoughts, and two, what you want to be able to do. Right? Because that itself would require some amount of thinking.
I really am sorry.
No problem. So 1 second, let me mute you.
She's muted.
You're muted. Okay, right. So what I was saying that, so write your thoughts, write your emotions. Many a times, we are not able to identify our emotions also. If possible, try and identify and write your emotions also. And write what you want to be able to do, that you are out of a relationship, and of course you are going through a painful time, Shefali. So aap karna kya chahoge? Do you want to because when somebody is out of a relationship, one of the most natural and common thoughts that one is going through is that, was it a right decision? Or it could be that, okay, no, there is still hope, I could have done something differently. Right?
Yes.
Right. So there would be these kind of thoughts. So write all this down, and then, as I said, write what you want to be able to do about it. Okay. If you're not able to kind of answer them or address them yourself, then when if you're really feeling too overwhelmed, too exhausted to even think about them, then probably take help. That's what I would say. Yeah. Anything else?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, Madhu, I think also, I think I would just want to advise, because
similar, you are free.
Similar background.
You are free.
So yes, I think the first thing, like we were talking about, was first is to validate your feeling, because obviously you coming out of a relationship that was for 2 years, there would have actually been, I mean, you were the person for 2 years, so that means something. So if it gets over, you're definitely going to feel bad. And I think second thing is, like Madhu said, you again have to logically remind yourself, okay, there must be a reason that why are you out of it, okay? And if you can just logically talk to yourself, analyze how, I mean, if it was good for you, if it was, you're feeling bad only because क्योंकि आपको 2 साल में, क्योंकि आपको आदत हो जाती है, like maybe mentally you're headstrong, mentally you know that, okay, this was not good for me, this was not good for us, but you're not logically able to absorb it. So I think you have to remind yourself of all of things that आपने ये क्यों ऐसा क्यों हुआ और आप क्या करना चाहते हो is what greatly helped me to come out of the situation.
Thank you for advising me.
All right, then. Does anybody have any other questions? I think we are, yeah, Madhu.
I had one question.
Yeah.
To my panelists. Okay. So what I wanted to ask was that did you have at any point of time any doubt that therapy won't work? And if yes, what did you do? What made you continue with the therapy? Like, I'm not saying necessarily about me, maybe with somebody else earlier, like your experience with therapy.
Suranjana has her hand raised. Suranjana, you can.
Yeah, I had one experience like that when therapy was not working for us. That was with the previous counselor. And basically, I don't know what to say. I don't know what she was doing with us. It was falling even further apart. Things were already bad and they were becoming worse. And so my husband was taking therapy long time ago, like I don't even remember, maybe 5 to 7 or 8, 9 years ago, he was into therapy. But at that point of time, he had discontinued because of some financial reasons. So now when we were facing this issue, when it started getting worse for us, he went back to the same counselor that he was with 9 years ago, and then she directed us to Madhu. So since Madhu, it's been working really well, but there was a point when things were not working. They were becoming from bad to worse, and both of us had to take a decision that this is not working. So it could have been therapy or it could have been the therapist. We didn't know what was not working.
Right. Thank you so much, Suranjana, for sharing that. So what I would like to kind of though we don't have many people right now, but still, this point is very valid that it is possible, that one therapist may not work for you for various reasons. Like there are in every profession, like how it happens in doctors or lawyers or anything, like there are good therapists, there are not so good therapists, or one person may work for, someone and, may not work for another. So that is also a possibility. But what I want to really reiterate is that do not lose faith in the concept of therapy. Do not lose faith because things can be worked out. Have faith in the idea, in the concept, in the process that okay, keep trying till the time it works for you. So it's like like mera shoulder ka treatment chal raha tha, I had to consult 3 doctors, right? But I did not leave it. I did not kind of leave addressing the issue because I was not kind of getting the right kind of help with the first or the second doctor. That's what I want to say. Lilua, you want to add something?
Yes, ma'am. Like this question that you said, like I had this feeling after going for therapy for 3 months. I felt that I'll manage now. Okay, so I somehow I was delaying the session and also had exam. I think it was a nudge from your end, and then I realized that I think I'm forgetting the basic premise that it is I have to be patient. I have to trust. I have to see. So I think that helped me, to stay consistent. Even these days also, like I have this doubt कि अच्छा चलो छोड़ देते हैं, हो जाएगा manage. But then
you are bringing another very valid point, which says that when clients start feeling little better, they think abhi ho gaya, like we are done. So that's another kind of for the lack of a better word, I'll say mistake that they do. Okay. And then unfortunately it doesn't work. Trust your therapist. when once you have started working with them and then you are able to reach to a certain point, trust your therapist. Because the therapist would work in your best interest, and they would kind of know when to. So ideally, how it happens is that they will gradually taper it off. Like जैसे usually sessions once a week होते हैं, तो धीरे धीरे करके, you will also know that abhi I am able to handle many situations on my own, which I was not able to handle earlier, right? So and so sessions may become once in 2 weeks and once in a month and so on and so forth, and then as and when needed basis, right? So something like that. So that is another very valid point that you mentioned, which needed to be addressed. That do not leave therapy suddenly, without consulting your therapist, just because you think that, okay, I have started to feel better. Because there's a difference between feeling better and getting better. बहुत बार आपको एक बार लगता है, like there's another, like what comes to my mind right now is, there's a client who has had sessions with me, I think 4 or 5 sessions, and she was very good in terms of working on herself. So she started showing symptoms from improvement, from second session onwards, which is very unusual. Okay. So after 4 sessions or 5 sessions, she definitely had, shown tremendous improvement, no doubt about that. But then she thought that, okay, I'm done. Then I had to kind of, introduce this whole that, okay, how does it work and all that. And then, okay, we decided to have this session, let's say after a gap of 3 weeks. I think that was 2 or 3 weeks, ऐसा कुछ gap रखा. And I think what, we like to somehow believe that we are doing well, which is good actually. It's not bad. But sometimes we kind of, again, we saw that, okay, she was trying to brush the issues under the carpet. So फिर से वो जब आया निकल के, तो then she also realized that, okay, it's not done yet. And of course, it can't be done so early. She has some issues to be addressed. Right? So, yes, Dr. Shingare,
I just wanted to know, is there any time frame you suggest that they will come to know whether it is affecting or not? And second thing, means what you say ki it may not act with one therapist, may act with second. I feel it is lock and key phenomena. Usually we see in medical practice also, one patient may not be comfortable or may not feel good with me. He may feel good with, so he should not leave trust on medicine. He can shift only this thing.
Yes, absolutely right. Absolutely right. And your first question is that you're asking like when the person would start at least beginning to see the change? Is that what you're saying?
I just wanted to know, is there any, in your science, is there any this thing, time frame that in this case means, in suppose if in medicine I feel if any antibiotic course is started, within 4 days patient should start getting relief, and he should get approximately full relief within 3 weeks. So in your this thing field, is there any particular time frame that I wanted to ask?
अच्छा, no, unfortunately no, Dr. Shingare. मतलब हम लोग बहुत सारे variables के साथ deal करते हैं. Mind has a mind of its own. I jokingly say that. So ऐसा कुछ भी हम for sure नहीं कह सकते कि कितना time लगेगा. जैसे आपने rightly you gave an example that कि antibiotics है तो 5 days में हो जाना चाहिए or something like that. We can't really say. But having said that, what I would say is, once after I think 2 sessions, at least 2 sessions, 2 to 3 sessions, the therapist would be able to have a rough idea that, okay, these many sessions would be required. Rough idea that can vary. That is no guarantee. वो possible है. Second thing is, as we have been saying that, one needs to keep patience because it is a slow process, because it is working on the mind, yourself. And we are talking about some, thought process and beliefs that we have been working from throughout our lives. So, so that is what I would like to say here. Anu, you would like to add something?
Yeah, it's very difficult to, give a time frame. It works a little different here, where we cannot give a time frame on kab tak, hogi. There are some clients, who work with smaller time frame, and then it all depends on what all issues come up during therapy, what all is there in the awareness jo pehle nahi tha, and maybe some new issues could come up. So it's very difficult, honestly speaking, to give a time frame. But yes, if they come with specific issues, जैसे suppose कोई आता है कि मुझे weight का issue है, I just want to work on that, then probably हम बोल सकते हैं कि ये एक particular चीज पे focus करें तो शायद 8 session में हो जाए. But जब हम उसमें work करें, हो सकता है कि there could be multifactorial, and फिर वो एक working all of that can take a long time.
Madhu,
Okay, thanks a lot.
This, I mean,
yes,
this can also be because a lot of work here lies in the hand of the patient or the person who is taking therapy, if I'm not.
Oh yeah, very good point. Yeah.
Because, I mean, as a therapist, you can show us a direction, you can give us the answers, because like what I understood, because I also saw, I mean, we had our meetings, we did our sessions, but it was a lot of time when I went back and I did not do that homework. I would just write, like, I would do those exercises in front of you, but I wasn't doing them myself. So, because, yeah. So
yeah, completely. I forgot about that very brilliant point. Yeah. Because it's not only, I'm not giving any medication, actual work lies with the person himself or herself.
Absolutely. That plays a huge role, I think, in
one thing more that I wanted to just share with everybody, because like the question that you asked that आपको कभी लगा कि आप therapy नहीं करनी, and for me, I mean, it has happened with me a lot of time, but एक जो again मेरे लिए sorry, revelation था was my first session with Madhu. It was actually kind of I mean, it now seems funny because it was Madhu who told me that you should, because she was seeing me at the clinic and she told me that we should speak, we should do sessions, and I convinced myself. My doctor also told me you should talk to Madhu, and with after my first session I went to doctor and I was like, I don't think I want to do a session with Madhu. And that was only because I was intimidated, because I was not ready to, मुझे सच्चाई नहीं सुननी थी. Like it was not that दुनिया मेरे साथ गलत कर रही थी. It was a lot that मैं अपने साथ गलत कर रही थी, because I was burdening myself with a lot of things and a lot of emotions. I am a person who likes to please people. I want to be perfect, and I didn't want to hear that. And that's when my doctor just very casually told me, okay, just go for next session. And I am just hooked on. Like I have honestly, when I started my journey of therapy was when I was referred to a friend by a non-profit. And I remember how difficult it was because I was clinically depressed. And even talking about those episodes or my emotions would just drain me out. And now, cut to now, when we laugh in our sessions and I know what's happening, I'm able to self-identify. So that's only because I accepted that I have to accept where I'm wrong, or I have to accept that I'm a flawed personality.
Thank you
for sharing that. Shubhi.
गिरधारी जी's hand is raised for a very long time. आप कुछ बोलना चाहते हो, गिरधारी जी?
मेरे को एक I don't know, जैसे therapist कोई खोजना है, so how do you know they are good therapist or bad therapist? So what are the qualifications for being a therapist? अभी तो आपने इंडिया में तो सारे थेरेपिस्ट हैं, कोई भी बताने लग जाता है, हाँ तुम ये करो तुम वो करो.
I think I would like one of my panelists to answer this question.
Actually, मेरे लिए तो ये it was like finding a life partner. आप टेस्ट करते हो जैसे ऐसे डॉक्टर विनोद ने भी बोला लाइक आप एक डॉक्टर के पास जाते हो डायबिटीज के लिए बट आप पर नहीं सुधरता, आपको पता चल जाता है। आई थिंक वो आपको अंदर से आवाज आती है कि मेरे लिए क्या वर्क कर रहा है, बिकॉज जो आपका थेरेपिस्ट है वो आपका पर्सपेक्टिव समझ रहा है, वो आपकी सिचुएशन समझ रहा है, इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो आई गेस ये एक ऑब्वियसली बहुत एक्सपीरियंस लोग अवेलेबल हैं, गूगल सर्च से आपको बहुत सारे लोग मिल सकते हैं, बट वो अगेन एक लॉक इन की वाला मेथड है कि आपके साथ किसका रिदम बैठता है, इज द वे दैट यू फाइंड अ गुड थेरेपिस्ट।
मेंटली हम लोग को डिस्कशन तो कभी भी हर टाइम ही करना पड़ता है। we may be suffering from a mental illness or we may be suffering from some dilemma कि हम लोग को कल क्या करना है, परसों क्या करना है। सो उसमें भी डिफरेंशिएट करना इतना आसान नहीं है, whether I am suffering from something low or whether I am just in a dilemma for a time।
भैया तो उसमें भी ना वही हम बोलते हैं कि इतना लेबल करने की हमें जरूरत नहीं है कि ऐसा कुछ डिप्रेशन या एंजाइटी इस तरह का हमें कुछ लेबल करने की जरूरत नहीं होती है। अगर हमें लग रहा है कि हमें थोड़ी सी दिक्कत हो रही है which we are not able to cope up on our own,
वो मैं समझ गया। मेरा खाली अच्छा आदमी सपोज जिससे डिस्कस करना है,
आई नो
वो कैसे फाइंड किया जाए कि हाँ जो प्रॉब्लम है उसको
मैं पर्सनली तो यही रेकमेंड करती हूँ कि वर्ड ऑफ माउथ के थ्रू जाएं, ओके, बिकॉज अनफॉर्चुनेटली आई एम रियली काइंड ऑफ पेड टू से दिस, बट कई बार मैंने अपने ही क्लाइंट से कई ऐसे सुनी है कि ऐसे प्रीवियस थेरेपिस्ट के साथ हुआ, मतलब उन्होंने ऐसे बोला विच आर रियली काइंड ऑफ अनप्रोफेशनल बोलूं या रियली काइंड ऑफ नॉट सो गुड थिंग्स। तो आप मैं बोल रही हूँ कि स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट हो तो आप वर्ड ऑफ माउथ से जाइए, और उसके बाद आप जैसे आप फर्स्ट सेशन करते हैं भैया, तो फिर आप देखिए कि आप कंफर्टेबल हैं कि नहीं उसके साथ बात करने में। अगर आप कंफर्टेबल हैं, अगर आपको एक कंफर्ट लेवल मिल रहा है एटलीस्ट बात करने के लिए, तो आई थिंक एटलीस्ट आप उसको फिर कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं। और 4-5 सेशन के बाद से आपको थोड़ा सा आपको चेंज दिखना शुरू हो जाएगा। दैट इज, अगर आप खुद से जो भी वो बात हो रही है, कुछ वो आपके ऊपर अपने ऊपर काम करना पड़ेगा। तो जो भी मान लीजिए अगर आपको कुछ होमवर्क है या कोई भी तरह की आपको जो भी डिस्कशन है उसके बेसिस पे अगर कुछ करना है, अगर वो आप करते हैं, तो आपको 4-5 सेशन के बाद से मोस्टली आपको एक थोड़ा सा चेंज दिखना शुरू हो जाता है। तो आई थिंक स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट वही है कि गो थ्रू वर्ड ऑफ रेफरेंस, वर्ड ऑफ माउथ, and then take one session and you should be comfortable to talk to that person. I would say it like that.
अपने सर्कल में पूछिए।
Yes, Nilima.
Sorry, yeah, Nilima.
Sorry, Anu ma'am. Actually, first is like word of mouth, and also like, ma'am, personally, I feel that if someone is telling you what to do and what not to do, I think that should ring an alarm bell, because like I watched a lot of videos. They'll give you shortcuts, ready-made solutions. Ma'am, like positive, affirmation, बार-बार बोलो कि नहीं सब ठीक है, सब ठीक है. ऐसा काफी थेरेपिस्ट करते हैं, I've heard from experiences.
I know.
I think we have to, I think वो word of mouth, and also then we have to be conscious about certain things. Shortcuts नहीं है, I personally feel that.
Yes, very valid point. A good therapist will never tell you do this or don't do this. वो आपको हेल्प करेगा क्योंकि सब ज्ञान आपके अंदर ही है। ठीक है,
ओके, ज्ञान तो बहुत ज्यादा है, कोई बात नहीं। ठीक है, इट वाज गुड टॉकिंग, लिसनिंग, सब कुछ थोड़ा क्लैरिटी आया। और वो एक स्टेटमेंट में, इफ यू फील टू टॉक टू समबडी, यू टॉक टू सम गुड थेरेपिस्ट, नो हार्म। गुड,
थैंक यू and thank you so much Shubhi, thank you so much Suranjana, Nilima, Anu.
I hope your shoulder is right now okay.
Shoulder is much better भैया,
ठीक हुआ पूरा? मतलब that means still
70
something.
70 नहीं अभी चल रहा है बट मैं काम कर रही हूँ उस पे ये भी
चलो।
डीप रूटेड हो गया है बहुत
अच्छा थेरेपिस्ट चाहिए
अभी मिल गया है अभी मतलब पेशेंट भी अच्छा है
चलो ठीक है
पेशेंट भी
you
डेली
also
वाला
have to respond properly.
Absolutely. Okay, so I
Okay.
really enjoyed this session myself, and thank you so much, Anu, for your inputs and for helping me throughout, always being there. And thank you so much, my panelists.
चलो
I
सबको
hope
happy
you all
मकर
enjoyed.
संक्रांति.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
Makar
you.
Sankranti.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.